tonight on CTV News at 5.
Only really on special occasions, for the most part. More for celebrations, I'd say.
Sober shift. Drinking habits are changing as Gen Z takes a more measured approach.
It got me on lettuce duty, so I'm just taking the bad parts off this lettuce to try to save it.
And the tradition continues. Mount St. Vincent University still paying it forward 75 years later.
It's always been a family-friendly place. Great to be outside. It makes winter great.
Head for the hills. Ski Marttok celebrates 60 years of fun on the slopes.
We try to tell families to maybe focus on the things that they used to love when they were young.
And facing dementia together, meaningful ways to help loved ones navigate the unknown.
Very cold conditions continue through the end of this week. Some flurries expected for parts of the region.
Live from the Maritime's News Center, this is CTV News at 5.
Good evening and welcome to CTV News at 5. I'm Maria Panopalis. Thank you for joining us. First at 5 tonight, sober shift. From happy hour to house parties, drinking was once a rite of passage to adulthood. But these days, a lot of younger adults are taking a pass. In fact, decades of data shows that Gen Z is consuming less than previous generations when they were the same age. CTV's Emma Convey looked into what may be driving the trend. Hi, Emma.
Hi, Maria. Despite alcohol consumption being the highest in young adults, research shows a positive trend with today's young people drinking less. Quite the change from years past. It's not just dry January for some students in Halifax. Many have chosen to opt out of drinking altogether.
I personally don't enjoy it anymore. I used to, but after feeling terrible at the end of a night, I just stopped consuming alcohol.
Drank a bit last year and then decided this year I was going to try to stop drinking, just see how it affected my play because I'm on the volleyball team, and found I feel a lot better and it's a lot better financially too.
A trend clinical psychologist Simon Sherry says he has noticed.
For the last 2 decades, we've seen a consistent decline in our young adults in terms of their consumption of alcohol and binge drinking.
A consistent and positive change to see, since Sherry says frequent alcohol consumption is corrosive to mental and physical health.
Alcohol plays a leading role in a range of mental disorders, especially anxiety and depression. Certainly, there's nothing wrong with occasionally having a drink, but if you are a frequent drinker or someone who drinks a whole lot in a short period of time, it will be corrosive to your mental and your physical health.
This generation is aware of what alcohol does to them. But social connection is one area they don't want to lose, so they're paving a new way.
Surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, they are actually leading the category for low and no alcohol, especially low and no alcohol wines. And so we're seeing a lot of innovation in that category.
These experts say Gen Zs are health conscious, but not for all substances.
They're conscientious on one hand, but they're very selective and they don't look at the whole impact. So they say, oh, I use marijuana, for example, to reduce my anxiety. But what the studies actually show us is that prolonged marijuana use actually increases people's episodes of anxiety.
Despite alcohol consumption being down among young people,
alcohol use disorder is a very significant addiction that's still showing up daily. And while we know that studies are showing that some people are not drinking as much, we also realize that problem drinking is still something that's quite significant.
While health is a big factor for cutting back, the cost is another. Reports show as living expenses like rent and groceries take up a larger portion of budget, alcohol has become a lower priority for many students. Maria.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Emma. CTV's Emma Convey for us in the news center this evening. All right, let's turn our attention over to Todd Battis now, who's standing by at the anchor desk with a look at the day's headlines. Hi there, Todd.
Yes, indeed. Hi, Maria. Coming up at 6 o'clock, St. John is benefiting from more container traffic from Ontario. Exports from the province to the port city have grown by 153% over the past year. Now, today in Ottawa, the New Brunswick and Ontario governments committed to expanding their port partnership. Coming up at 6, Avery McRae will have those details for us. The ongoing battle over bike lanes heated up at a Halifax Regional Council meeting. The mayor says the latest cost estimate for the cycling network has increased from $25 to $85 million. Now, some councillors say it's worth the cost to build the network right now. Others, not so sure. We'll hear from all of them at 6. Halifax will kick off a nationwide FIFA Fan Fest in June, as the FIFA World Cup trophy will also make its way to Halifax. That will happen at the end of May. This, of course, is all ahead of the world's largest sporting event. We'll tell you more about the fan celebration tour and how you can be part of it coming up in the newscast. All right, Kalen Mitchell is in the Weather Center. Hard to think about soccer outside with the temperatures behind you, my friend.
Yeah, I was thinking, Todd, one more thing to look forward to in June. That soccer fest.
It seems a very long way away.
Yeah, that and the temperatures, because it was cold out there today for anybody still doing some cleanup after the heavy snow that came in at the start of this week. I mean, temperatures now, as we're moving in towards the first part of this evening, sitting in the range around -7 to -10 for Nova Scotia. Charlottetown and Prince Edward Island's at -10 right now. Summerside's at -9, and most areas in New Brunswick sitting between -7 and -11. And wind chill has been a factor today, continues to be for this evening, making temperatures feel well down into the -teens. How about those winds? They're mostly out of the northwest, and they're being sustained at this hour, mostly between 10 and 30 kilometers per hour. A little bit higher around eastern areas of Nova Scotia, locations in Cape Breton. That's where most areas are in those sustained winds close to 30, and reporting a few gusts between 40 and 50 other parts of the Maritimes, with mostly some gusts between 30 and 40 kilometers per hour. The one at the Bathurst Airport coming in at around 50. Wind chill is still going to be around for this evening and tonight. Even though the winds diminish a little bit tonight, they're still going to be on the breezy side. Expecting fairly clear conditions tonight for the province of New Brunswick and parts of Prince Edward Island. Some broken cloud cover around areas of Nova Scotia, and still a chance of flurries where that colder wind is coming in onshore off ocean waters. I'll have more on the forecast when I'm back later on. Maria.
Thank you very much, Kaylin. So Ski Marttok celebrates 60 years of fun on the slopes this year. CTV's Mike Lamb shows us now that they have some new family-friendly additions that'll make you want to get out and make the most of winter.
We're at Ski Marttok, and we have actually been here now for 60 years. So celebrating our 60th season. I started coming here sometime in the early 70s, so maybe 10 years in, or a little bit less than 10 years in. And now this is my 41st season here. So we've seen a lot of changes. You know, the influx of snowboarding, new lifts, more terrain being opened up, and obviously snowmaking that allows us to have a full season. The big surprise for me would be tubing. So we installed a little tubing track, and that has proven to be very popular. So to a point where we're going to have tubing certainly for the rest of this year, and we'd like to include it in our operation moving forward. So we have a snow castle at the top of Shea Solution, and kids are going to be able to ski through that castle. So the goal is to have it open and going for the weekend. We're just in the process now of installing a corkscrew as well. If you can picture skiing up and over, or snowboarding up and over, down around a little turn, and then down through a little tunnel and back out again. So little features for kids. It's always been a family-friendly place. Been a big focus for us. Just making it accessible to as many families as we can moving forward. So a family sport, it's great to be outside. It makes winter great. You know, we've got 3 snowboard Olympians from this place. It's a place to do a sport or just take part in family and lifetime activities. Conditions are fantastic. This will really come soon.
Let's go again.
Oh, that looks like a lot of fun. And the tubing, I have done that in the past, and it is a lot of fun. Okay, going to take a break right here on CTV News at 5. Stay with us, though. Much more to come, including these stories.
I'm Ryan McDonald in Sydney. Tonight on the CTV News at 5, the hit show Heated Rivalry has a maritime connection you may not have known about. We'll tell you all about it coming up later in the show.
I'm Jesse Thomas. You may not know the name Caritas Day or the story behind it, but you'll be moved by this heartfelt effort. Why Mount St. Vincent University students are rolling up their sleeves and giving back. That story's just ahead.
Celebrate Valentine's Day, February 14th with care at the Feeling the Love Gala. Support Hospice Halifax while enjoying a gourmet dinner, dessert buffet, dance, and more. For tickets, visit hospicehalifax.ca/FTL.
75 years ago, a fire tore through Mount St. Vincent's original campus. A stunning Victorian building that overlooked the Bedford Basin was reduced to rubble. But as CTV's Jesse Thomas shows us, out of those ashes came a legacy of service and charity that continues until this day.
Boxes and boxes of romaine lettuce are stacked in front of these Mount St. Vincent University students, where today they mark a milestone anniversary with blue rubber gloves and a whole lot of heart. Max, what do they have you on today?
They got me on lettuce duty, so I'm just taking the bad parts off this lettuce to try to save it and then afterwards we give it out to the people.
Some students are sorting food into boxes, while others are upstairs at the Parker Street Food Bank sorting toys for children of all ages who need a little extra joy.
We just wanted to come and help out for the day that we have off at school, and yeah, we may as well do something good while we have a day off.
I got the big ones in first. Yeah, we're basically just getting the toys together, trying to make sure that they're going to the right age groups and getting them out donated to kids in need.
This day of charity marks the 75th anniversary of the 1951 fire that destroyed the original Mount St. Vincent campus, a rich piece of Victorian architecture that was destroyed by flames. But from that devastation, an opportunity for the school to show its true values.
The building that burnt down was where education happened, students were living, and so the community really rallied together and helped everyone involved. So the Mount has had a day for many years where we've given back to the community in honor of that.
Caritas Day was established by the Sisters of Charity Halifax, the founders of the Mount, and on the last Wednesday of January each year, students give back to the community. At the Parker Street Food Bank, the extra hands make for a real difference.
Without groups like this, we would not be able to do what we do. So I know we do have a small staff, and I appreciate my staff, and they do really great work, but it's really our volunteers that are the driving force.
The expression "many hands makes light work" applies here as they continue a 75-year tradition to pay a good deed forward. Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
Isn't that just awesome? And I also learned a little bit about Halifax history. Unfortunate to have lost that building 75 years ago, but...
Yeah, but what a great tradition that came out of it. That's awesome.
Absolutely. All right. We saw the Marttok story earlier. There's so much fresh snow on the hills. So I know the skiers and the tubers and the sledders are happy.
Cross-country skiers, snowmobilers. I'm sure they love seeing some of that powdery snow show up at the start of this week. We're looking out here at a beautiful view. This is Albert Bridge in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. And we can see that fresh blanket of snow stretching off there towards the horizon. I'll have more on the forecast coming up after break.
Beautiful, beautiful scene. Peggy's Cove, of course. Proof here, Kaylin, why Peggy's Cove is one of the most photographed places in the country, huh?
I was about to say, there's your winter postcard picture for Nova Scotia right there. Old lighthouse kind of blending in a little bit with the snow-covered rocks.
Stunning. Just absolutely beautiful. Beautiful day throughout the Maritimes today. Lots of sunshine. Made a little tricky to drive, though, I have to say.
The glare?
Yes, yes. So much sun and the snow and all of it. Needed the sunglasses for
the salt on the windshield.
Yeah.
Having to use my windshield wiper fluid. Keep that cleared away. Yes, as long as you were dressed for the conditions for today, because they were cold, and they were, as we can hear, as we're looking at conditions around Fredericton from over the past hour. The wind was on the breezy side, so wind chill was a factor out there, looking at our sunrise and sunset times for the provincial capitals. Barometric pressure is actually still tilted a little bit towards the lower side, though we didn't have a tremendous amount of active weather in the region for today. There were some few areas of flurries. We're in between a number of low pressure systems at this point. There's one that's coming in over parts of the Great Lakes. There's another low that's holding well offshore of us. You can see far to the east of Sable Island, which is right there. And then there's another low which is stalled out over the North Atlantic, and we're between those here in the Maritimes. Taking a look at things showing up on radar. Not a lot, but there are some areas that will still have a chance of some flurries as we move through this evening and tonight. We include the same western areas in Nova Scotia I pointed out yesterday, so basically from the Minas Basin down the Annapolis Valley, and especially in the southwest Nova Scotia, where it's basically been nonstop, very light flurries around areas like Yarmouth, and there'll be a chance of some flurries off the Gulf of St. Lawrence for areas of Cape Breton. Looking at either mostly clear or clearing sky for both Prince Edward Island and New Brunswick for tonight. Temperatures, though, very cold. And so into the start of the day for tomorrow we go. It is going to be off to a sunny and cold start, both New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island. More of a mix of sun and cloud for Nova Scotia. Through the day on Thursday, there'll be increasing cloudiness in the north of New Brunswick, and that will be followed up by some flurries. Other parts of the Maritimes into Thursday afternoon, a mix of sun and cloud and a lower chance of flurries in areas of Nova Scotia, especially again where the still northwest wind comes in off of ocean waters. Now, the flurries in the forecast for both tonight and tomorrow, in most cases, they are expected to be very, very light with very little snow accumulation out of them. Maybe a few areas up in the north of New Brunswick by the end of the day on Thursday could pick up some amounts for around a few centimeters. It's also possible in a couple of spots down around the southwest of Nova Scotia. Here's a look at the wind forecast. So for tonight, they do ease up a little bit towards midnight. And then tomorrow's winds still out of the northwest and very similar to today, including some fairly widespread gusts between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour. Here's a look at our low temperatures tonight in the Maritimes, and it is another very cold night, so you can expect lows in New Brunswick to mostly fall into a range around -16 to -20 tonight. Wind chill making it feel into the -20s. Edmundston down to around -23 in the northwest. Charlottetown tonight very cold, around -18, and for Nova Scotia tonight a lot of low temperatures between around -10 and -16, though even colder than that around northern and eastern parts of the province. Areas of Cumberland, Colchester counties, parts of Pictou and Antigonish counties, some lows between -16 and -18. So in the forecast for Friday around the Maritime region, it is still going to have that colder air in place. Cloud cover, though, will be increasing around the region, and flurries become a bit more widespread for the Maritimes on Friday. There'll basically be scattered flurries across the region. Temperatures, though, still quite cold. Let's take a look at our weather watcher for tonight. And tonight's weather watcher is coming in from Marcus Harchis, 4 years old. And Marcus has sent us a drawing showing his aunt walking through the flowers and water, rainbow over some clouds with the sun peeking through. Thank you, Marcus. Maria.
Thank you, Kaylin. So Heated Rivalry has been a viral hit and perhaps a game changer for inclusivity in hockey. And as CTV's Ryan McDonald shows us, a man who for years was a hockey star here in the Maritimes has played a key role in the show's production.
This is such a bad idea.
It's a hit show that has been sparking conversations about acceptance in Canada's game, and it has a maritime connection you might not have known about.
I actually did my first stunt when I was 6 years old.
Culligan joining late. Fergus looking for .5, and he does. Cam Fergus, a bullet.
Cam Fergus played 2 seasons for the Cape Breton Screaming Eagles about 2 decades ago. His final year on the island, he scored 53 goals, still a team record.
Turns, fires it sharp angle, the rebound, they score!
A few years later, he helped St. Mary's University win their first men's national championship and graduated with a degree in finance and management. Now, the 39-year-old is the stunt coordinator on Heated Rivalry.
My uncle has been in the industry for over 40 years now. So stunts, I mean, it is kind of a crazy career choice, but it was always kind of part of our family.
Fergus has worked on other big hockey shows too, like Shoresy and Letterkenny, but says the response Heated Rivalry has received from the LGBTQ2S+ community and the hockey world has been special. After a lifetime spent in rinks and dressing rooms, he's not sure what the response might have been like if a player were to have come out years ago.
That's a tough one. I think it certainly they would have had a harder time back then than today.
It's been largely the same in real life. While a couple of minor pro players, active and retired, have come out, the NHL still hasn't had its first openly gay player. Fergus says while his job is simply to make good television, the stories of Ilya Rozanov and Shane Hollander might help change that.
I mean, I hope so. I mean, people should be able to be who they are and feel comfortable where they are, no matter what they're doing. And hopefully that, you know, this conversation continues and that does happen.
An East Coast connection to a show that has people talking. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Sydney.
Thank you, Ryan. All right, we're going to take a break here on CTV News at 5. Stay with us. This is our next story.
I'm Laura Brown in Fredericton, and coming up on CTV News at 5, it's the day of action for the Alzheimer Society across this country. And here at the Alzheimer Society of New Brunswick, they're making sure no family or patient ever feels forgotten. I'll have that story coming up on CTV News at 5.
Welcome back. It's an incredibly difficult diagnosis for the patient and the entire family. But as CTV's Laura Brown shows us, the Alzheimer Society of New Brunswick wants people to know they are not alone and that they can help.
We have made it completely dementia-friendly.
Brianna Burns takes us on a tour of the Alzheimer Society's office kitchen. The signage may be simple, but it makes a big difference to someone living with dementia.
We have both written words as well as a picture and a yellow and black background, which is psychologically proven to be the last color that people living with dementia lose.
It's a reality 12,000 people in this province and their families live with. Today marks the Society's National Day of Action, and Burns says the actions can be about forming new memories.
I think about my grandmother, who she absolutely loves. She used to love records when she was younger, and she's living with dementia now. And so I told my father, I said, you should totally bring in these records for her so she can start to enjoy something that she used to love.
So in our space here, you can see some pretty easy changes that you can make.
Like this blind that goes over the mirror. The story behind it stems from a daughter who was learning how to take care of her mother living with dementia.
Her mom had had a couple of bladder infections and had actually been hospitalized with a kidney infection. So what had happened is this woman had been walking into the bathroom, seeing a reflection she did not recognize, holding her bladder and leaving the bathroom, thinking there was someone else in the bathroom.
The Society held open houses across the province today to share some of these simple changes and connect with people touched by the disease.
There can be joy in a diagnosis of dementia. There can be little moments of humor. There can be moments of learning.
She promises they can help with every step, ensuring no one feels forgotten. Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
Oh, it's a wonderful program, and you know, so many people are using it and benefiting from it, the patients, the families, the loved ones. So keep doing what you're doing. It's making a difference.
Yeah, there'll be some excellent information there for sure. Okay, so coming up in the weather, it's all eyes towards the weekend and the potential for that nor'easter. There's been a lot of change between yesterday and today, which does mean it is still there as a risk for parts of the Maritime. So I'll update you that coming up in CTV News at 6.
We'll see you and Todd at 6. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night, everyone. The national news is next.